When I was in middle school, I attended a weekly youth group at an evangelical Protestant church. I was pretty involved, and even at that age, I took my faith seriously. I remember one week when our youth leader asked each of us to pray for our future spouse. I was instructed to pray for whatever woman I would one day end up marrying, to pray that God would protect her and give her a deep faith. At the time, I didn't think there was anything odd about this. I didn't think it was strange that I was only in middle school and everyone, myself included, was already assuming that I was going to get married at some point in my life. In our culture, our lives are pretty much planned for us when we're born. We are supposed to go to school, get a diploma, go to college, get a degree, get a job, get married, have kids, retire, then die. This is the message we're all told from a young age, and it's rooted so deeply in us that we think our lives are missing something if we take a different path. This is especially difficult for members of the LGBTQ community. Perhaps they were raised in a church like mine that told them marriage is their destiny, but now that same church tells them they can't get married. It's a problem that our society created in the first place by assuming that everyone has to get married, that we have to find our better half as if we aren't already whole people. Recently, Pope Francis spoke supportive words about civil unions for the LGBTQ community. Some people thought his comments went too far. Other people thought his comments didn't go far enough. Perhaps that's the struggle of a global church. For Catholics in one part of the world, the Pope's words may seem tame, while Catholics in other parts of the world may see those same words as revolutionary or extreme. Historically, the church has seen marriage as only between one man and one woman. In the book of Genesis, it says the two become one flesh. A man and a woman can literally become one flesh when they have children. The child is one flesh made from two. And historically, attitudes toward homosexuality have been negative. However, we're learning more and more about what it means not to be heterosexual. We have learned that homosexuality isn't a choice a person makes. He or she is born that way, created that way. And when the church learns new information, it often re-examines things. Since the very first day of the church has been adapting to new circumstances, always striving to present the gospel of Jesus Christ in love and mercy. In the book of Acts, we see one such example of adaptation. The Jewish people had a lot of dietary and ritual laws. Jesus himself was Jewish, as were his disciples. But in the book of Acts, a new question was raised. What about non-Jewish people who become Christians? Do they need to follow these dietary laws? Do they need to be circumcised, which was a Jewish practice? So the church met and discussed this issue, and being led by the Holy Spirit, they decided that non-Jewish people didn't have to follow the Jewish dietary and ritual laws to be Christians, essentially saying that Christians don't also have to be Jewish. At the time, this decision was revolutionary. The Jewish people considered non-Jews to be unclean, but the church said that non-Jewish Christians are clean, even without following these ritual purity laws. The church is always adapting to new times and new places. Its message remains the same, but the way that message is expressed can take new forms. The question of LGBTQ marriage in the Catholic Church is hotly debated. There are some who think the case is closed, that marriage is only between one man and one woman, and that's the only way it will ever be. Others say we need to re-examine this question in light of our current understanding and in light of the gospel of love and mercy that Jesus has given to us. Regardless, all of us need to work together to make sure that our church is a welcome and safe place for members of the LGBTQ community. Jesus' love goes beyond our understanding, but we must strive to exemplify that love and inclusion in whatever way we can. Lastly, I want to say this. Marriage is a calling. Because of our culture, we often assume that we are called to marriage, but St. Paul even thought that it was better to remain unmarried. Regardless of your sexual orientation, you are a whole person. You don't need someone else to complete you. It can be nice to have a partner in life, and some of us are truly called to married life, but some of us are called to single life, and that can be just as fulfilling as married life. I hope at your age you aren't worried about finding a future spouse, but if you are, remember this: you are already complete. Perhaps at some point you'll find another complete person to share life with. But even if that's not your journey, you are still complete and abundantly loved by God. And if you are a member of the LGBTQ community, I want you to know that you are welcome and you are loved. Now please read the material below and answer the reflection questions. Have a great week.